just approaching Grindley Brook, and at this point there are 3 locks very close together, followed immediately by a 3-chamber staircase. So this is going to be an interesting experience. Right, so I've just received the instructions. There's the approach is through this railway bridge, which is almost a tunnel. It's a disused railway line. I think it's the Whitchurch line, Whitchurch to Chester. But it's a very, very windy day today. You can probably hear that in the microphone. There's a bywash going across the canal, plus a moored boat on my left. We're on the edge of Whitchurch now, and this is like a U-bend in the canal, off which is an arm which used to go into the town centre at Whitchurch. It's only a short arm now, and it's used for mooring for people who want to visit the town, but we don't want to do that, and we've heard that it's not very good up there anyway for mooring. and there is a winding hole, but I think it's quite small, so somebody that went up there told us not to bother, so we're not going to bother. That's up there. The canal goes more or less on a 180-degree bend at this point. We've just crossed the main road, and we're going to go back under it very soon. It's Friday evening, it's the 6th of May, and it's about 7:30 at night. We're finished for today, obviously, and as you can see outside it's pretty wet. Anyway, we started today 2 hours behind the planned itinerary, and we finished it 2 hours ahead, so we've done really well today. We kept going because we knew it was going to rain. It forecast rain to start about 4 o'clock this afternoon, so we skipped lunch, just had a cup of tea and a biscuit on the move, and lo and behold, at 4:15 it started to rain, by which time we'd moored up here. We're at a place called Welsh End Visitor Moorings. So very strange. We're right on the edge of England now. We are still in England technically, but Wales is about 100 yards over that way, so tomorrow we will be in Wales. But this canal goes out of Shropshire into Clwyd, and then back out of Clwyd back into Shropshire, which is quite strange, but that's by virtue of the boundary between the two countries doing that, rather than the canal doing that. So yeah, we go out of England into Wales and then back into England again tomorrow. So quite pleased with today's progress, really. We set out and it was quite nice, the weather, but we'd seen the forecast yesterday for rain later today, so we thought we'll get started early, and it was all right. It was nice, but the wind was very strong, which is always a bit of a problem when you're trying to control a narrowboat. But we got through. We went through the locks at Grindley Brook, and also the staircase at Grindley Brook, which was a bit of an experience, but there were Canal and River Trust lockies on, so it's easy really, because they do all the hard work and all the thinking for you. So on the itinerary that I've got, I use a spreadsheet which gives me my daily itinerary, and obviously there are time allowances in that, and to do the staircase it allowed half an hour. We were in and at the top in 10 minutes, so it was really good. We just caught it right, really. There are a lot of boats going the opposite way to us, but I think we were the leading boat of boats going in our direction because we'd kicked off early in the day. We were more or less in front of everybody, so that was really good, and that's really where we've saved the time, and also the fact that we didn't stop for lunch. So we've made up in effect 4 hours on the itinerary today. So hopefully this will have cleared up by tomorrow, and we'll start again. Saturday morning, the 7th of May, and the sun's come out again, which is nice. And we're just at bridge 45, which is a lift bridge that Sue has operated, and we've got a boat behind, so we're letting him go through. So as soon as he's through, I'll pull out and go. Morning, no problem.
Did you on the Oxford last week?
No, not been on the Oxford yet. Just coming past the junction for the Prees branch, which was a stub canal that took boats down toward Prees, but it never actually reached Prees. That's down there, that's the branch. That's the signpost. So we're not going to go down there. You can go down, but it's not something we're planning on doing. And that's a roving bridge to allow the horses to go from this canal over the canal and down the towpath on the Prees arm. And you can see how it's built on an embankment there. This area was exploited for peat, and it was almost destroyed, the peat bog was. But fortunately it's the industry stopped, and it's now being brought into a state of recovery, and it's a national nature reserve. You can't really see it because of this hedge, but if the timing's right, we might stop here on the way back and explore a bit more, because it's true wilderness really in the middle of there. There's absolutely no phone signal here. We tried last night to get a signal, but nothing. Morning.
Seems to be a little bit busier today.
Is it?
So?
Yeah, it's been a quiet week, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're hoping so.
Where they get to.
Llangollen.
When you go through the second block, pull your fenders up. It's heavy narrow.
Yeah, right, okay. Bit of helpful advice there from a boater. Yeah, that's the nature reserve. Must be teeming with wildlife there. I picked up a leaflet, but I've not had a chance to read it yet. It's round about this point that we enter Wales. I'm just looking to see if there's a signpost, but I can't see anything. But it's just after the Prees branch where the border is, so we could be in Wales. If we're not now, we will be any minute. don't they say that we're now in Wales? The signs in the margins here, where you go into the nature reserve, are all by the... But I didn't see a sign, a marker post that said Wales, but anyway, we're in Wales now. I actually found a post with a red dragon on. I don't know whether that means Wales. We'll see what's on the other side. Nothing. Welcome to England. So whether that's the border or not, we don't know. But we know it's along this strait somewhere. Our first glimpse of the Welsh hills. I'm on my usual evening stroll, and I've come off the Llangollen Canal and I'm on the Montgomery Canal. We've moored just a little way up from the junction of the two canals, and it's our intention to come down this canal on the way back from Llangollen, which will be probably in a week's time. And I just had a walk down to look at it and get a feel for these locks. And the other thing I need to check is the opening times to come through, because they're not open all the time. It's regulated, and I've just been talking to the chap on that green boat just below the lock there, who's been down to the as far as you can go on the Montgomery, which isn't the full length of the canal. It's not all navigable at the moment. He says it's about 5 miles. So he was telling me that the Canal and River Trust only allow 12 boats in at any one time. That's because it's quite narrow, it's quite short, and they will obviously want to limit the amount of traffic that's on it for those reasons. And so you have to pre-book your passage through these locks, and there's a couple of plain locks. Number 4 we've just looked at, and number 3, but numbers 2 and 1 are a staircase, and we'll have a look at those in a minute. But this is the staircase. Yeah, that's quite a deep chamber. And at the top there's a little office or other building. I presume that's where the lockkeeper uses as a base when he's on duty. But I think the locks are only open between 10 and 12 in the morning. And you have to pre-book by phone or online, but online is you've got no chance around here. There's no signal. You're lucky to get a phone signal. And there's a plaque there that tells you about the restoration of the Montgomery Canal. I've taken a still photo of that, so I'll put that up. and this is the boaters' information about booking and facilities. So we'll have to ring the number when we get there. So Newtown is 35 miles away. Unfortunately, you can't get to Newtown at the moment. The canal is truncated. The bottom section is navigable and the top section is navigable, but in between it's still under restoration. It will be restored. The route has been protected, so it will be restored. Whether it's restored in time for us to come and visit and go down the whole distance, I don't know. I don't know if you can see this from the video, but there's a constant flow on the Llangollen Canal, and that's because not only is it a canal, it's also a water conduit, and it takes water from the River Dee at Llangollen, from the Horseshoe Falls, all the way down to Hurlston Reservoir, which was at the junction with the Shropshire Union Canal and the Llangollen, where we had the 4 lock flights, and it provides drinking water for crew, believe it or not. So it's like a big water main, but using the canal to supply the water to the reservoir, and that's why there's a constant current. And they tell you, they've told us, people that we've met, that the nearer you get to Llangollen, the clearer it is, because obviously it's coming from the River Dee and it's undisturbed and unpolluted, whereas the canal water tends to be a little bit murky due to the passage of boats. So that's Frankton Junction from the other direction. So to sum up the day, it's been lock free, fortunately, but today was the latest that we've stopped at night. It was just after 5:30 when we stopped, but we had a couple of hours in Ellesmere. We went to the supermarket to get some food, and then we called at the services point at Ellesmere, so I think we probably stopped for 2 hours there, and we also stopped just before Ellesmere for lunch for about an hour and a half. So all in all, the cruising probably hasn't been any longer than normal. It's just that the day was a bit longer, but we've had a good day weather-wise. It's been glorious and sunny. It's a pleasant evening now, although it's dropping a bit cool. And here we are at Frankton. I think we're going to stay perhaps a couple of nights at Llangollen, because we've heard you can moor in the CRT moorings, pay £6 a night, and you get electric as well. So, you know, rather than just keep on cruising all the time, we might just spend a day having a look around Llangollen.